Picture this. You're sitting in a perfectly warm room, totally comfortable, and out of nowhere, bam, a sudden shiver races right down your spine. You look down at your arms, and your skin is completely covered in those tiny raised bumps. It's this highly relatable, completely involuntary sensation that every single one of us has experienced at some point. So, welcome to this explainer. Today we're going to unpack the fascinating science, the hidden evolutionary history, and some really surprising new biological discoveries behind this everyday phenomenon. Okay, let's kick things off by anchoring the science in a very personal mystery. Why exactly do you get goosebumps when you aren't even cold? I mean, why does hearing a particularly great song, or watching a terrifying scene in a scary movie, or even just having a sudden rush of a powerful memory cause our skin to bump up exactly like a freezing winter breeze does? It's kind of a weird glitch in our biology, isn't it? To understand why our skin reacts to a beautiful melody the exact same way it reacts to dropping temperatures, we really need to strip this phenomenon down to its biological core. Section 1. The Universal Shiver.
You know, the sheer variety of terms we use to describe this is pretty fascinating. The official medical term is cutis anserina, which translates directly from Latin as literally skin of a goose. Doctors also refer to it as horripilation or the pilomotor reflex, but in everyday conversation we just call them goose pimples, or most commonly, goosebumps. And the reason for that is purely visual. When these tiny bumps raise up on your skin, they perfectly resemble the skin of a plucked bird. It's such a visceral, universally recognized image that it even inspired the title of R.L. Stine's famous 1990s horror book series.
Section 2. Anatomy of a Goosebump.
Let's get under the skin for a second and meet the erector pili. These are infinitesimally small, smooth muscles located deep down in the mesenchyme layer of your skin. Every single hair on your body has one of these microscopic biological engines connected right to its base. Think of them like tiny biological levers. When these muscles are activated, they tighten up and physically pull the attached hair completely upright, perpendicularly out from the hair shaft. And as they do this, they pull up a little bump of skin along with it.
So let's walk through the incredibly elegant mechanics of how this actually goes down. Step 1. A stimulus, say a cold breeze, triggers your sympathetic nervous system. Now this is the part of your autonomic nervous system that's responsible for your body's fight or flight response. Step 2. Your body releases adrenaline right in response to that trigger. Step 3. Electrical messages from your nerves command those tiny erector pili muscles we just talked about to contract. And finally, Step 4. The hair stands upright and the pores close up. It's a completely automatic reaction. You absolutely cannot voluntarily decide to just give yourself goosebumps.
Section 3. Ghosts of Evolution.
If you're a mammal with thick fur, piloerection, which is the scientific term for the action of raising the hairs, is an absolute lifesaver. If the animal is cold, the raised fur traps a layer of warm air close to the skin, creating this amazing natural insulation. Or, if the animal is threatened, think of a hissing cat or a puffing porcupine, the raised hair makes them appear physically larger and way more formidable to predators. But let's contrast that with us modern humans. Because we have relatively thin, sparse body hair, this ancient physical defense and heating mechanism is honestly largely ineffective for us today. And that brings us to the concept of vestigial traits. These are evolutionary leftovers that no longer really serve their original biological purpose. Just like your tailbone or your wisdom teeth, goosebumps have basically stuck around from our ancient mammalian ancestors. For a very long time, scientists looked at human goosebumps as nothing more than evolutionary ghosts, just a quirky biological echo from a time when we were actually covered in thick fur.
Section 4. When emotions take over.
But what about the emotional side? We've all experienced frisson, that psychogenic shiver you get from incredibly moving music or ASMR. We also feel it during moments of sheer awe, nostalgia, intense fear, sudden excitement, and even intimacy. So why exactly does a great movie score give us the exact same skin reaction as freezing weather? Well, it all comes back to that autonomic nervous system. When you experience intense emotions, your brain's reward system releases dopamine and activates your sympathetic nervous system just as it would for a real physical threat or a sudden drop in temperature. Your body is basically reacting to a powerful emotional stimulus using the exact same ancient fight or flight machinery it uses to protect you from actual danger.
Section 5. A microscopic surprise.
Now listen to this quote from Harvard University researcher Ya-Chi Hu, which was published in the journal Cell. Using high-resolution electron microscopy, researchers made a genuinely stunning discovery. The nerves that cause your goosebumps aren't just connected to the erector pili muscles, they are intimately entangled with hair follicle stem cells. The nerve fibers literally wrap around the stem cells like a ribbon, using that tiny muscle as a structural bridge to hold the whole shebang together.
Let's look at how this builds into an unbelievably elegant biological system. Step 1. Prolonged cold activates the sympathetic nerve. Step 2. That nerve releases neurotransmitters. Step 3. Because those nerves are directly ribboned around the stem cells, the hair follicle stem cells actually activate. And Step 4. New hair is regenerated. So what we're looking at is a two-layer biological response. A quick muscle contraction gives you immediate goosebumps for short-term relief, but if the cold is prolonged, it sends a long-term signal to actually grow a thicker coat of hair. It turns out goosebumps aren't just a useless evolutionary echo. They are the trigger point for a highly complex tissue regeneration system. How cool is that?
Section 6. When to pay attention.
While almost always harmless, there are a few rare medical links to be aware of. There's keratosis pilaris, which is often called chicken skin, and that gives the continuous appearance of goosebumps. And very rarely, they can be a precursor to a seizure in temporal lobe epilepsy or a sign of an overreacting nervous system in autonomic dysreflexia. They're also a primary physical symptom of opiate withdrawal. In fact, here's a really surprising piece of history. The famous phrase, quitting cold turkey, actually originated because the severe goosebumps experienced during heroin withdrawal make the skin closely resemble a plucked cold turkey.
Section 7. An ancient biological response.
I want to leave you with this provocative thought as we wrap up. Every single time you get the chills from a beautiful piece of art or a sudden gust of wind, you are experiencing a literal biological bridge. You are feeling the exact same sympathetic nervous system response that protected our thick-furred ancestors. But as science looks closer, we really have to ask, will this vestigial trait slowly disappear over the coming centuries as evolution marches on? Or are we just at the very beginning of unlocking its hidden potential? Could understanding the link between these tiny muscles, our nerves, and our stem cells hold the ultimate key to revolutionary therapies for tissue healing and hair regeneration? It's an incredible reminder that beneath our skin, the human body is a masterpiece of hidden complexity. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and keep your curiosity alive.